Petty cash book questions. So we have a petty cash book here with the debit side of the petty cash book and the credit side of the petty cash book. So this is debit expenses or VAT or whatever, credit petty cash. This is credit the sales or student trips in this case, whatever, debit the petty cash. So we've got some financial transactions here. We're going to enter those into the petty cash book. We're then going to determine what the amount is that we need to either send to the bank or take or transfer from the bank. And then we're going to produce the journals from the petty cash book in here. In any petty cash book question, you need to always make sure that whatever sales tax, VAT in this case, there'll be on some items and not on others. And so we just need to always be mindful of that one, that this can be read that part of the question. So if you go ahead now, if you want to pause and do your question, and now I'll go and give you the answer now really. So let's go through this one. So Emily's form presents the travel expenses for a trip related to work. Now that's not vatable, so it's going to go in this expense. It's going to go on the credit side of the petty cash book. Credit petty cash, debit the expense, £9.60. Then there's a payment towards a student trip of £20, so that's a payment towards, so debit petty cash, credit this student trips. It's in there. Then Abigail was going to buy some pens, so she's buying some pens, so it's a sale here, stationery sales, and we've seen here that stationery is subject to VAT, so that's going to go on the debit side of the petty cash book. There you go, and so it's going to be credit stationery sales, credit VAT, going debit petty cash one here, and then you've got Fred Smiley, and he's refilled the stationery cupboard, so he's made some purchases of the stationery in here. So that is credit the petty cash, debit stationery purchase, and also debit VAT. Emily One's presented some travel expenses, so that's expenses in here, so it's going to be travel, that's not subject to VAT in this question in here. Might be in real life, might be in another question, not in this one. So that one goes there. And you'll notice as well, in addition to this figure here, putting into the actual column that we're going to do, we're putting it also as well in the totals column. And that gives us a good check at the end to make sure they're all balanced as well. And then Paul Mayhew's one, in terms of his payment towards his student trip, there's £28 going in there. And then purchase of the tea, so the tea wasn't vatable, so tea going in there. No VAT on this one in this case in here, but there is a biscuits and cakes, but we haven't seen a biscuit and cake yet. And then there's another purchase of £10. So we do that, and then we add up all of our amounts in here, including the brought forward figure. And then that is going to, then we're going to try and work out what is the amount that we got. So we got £204 minus £71.60. £24 minus £71.60, so that's £132.40 that we currently got in the petty cash tin at the end of these transactions. So we're going to make that up now to £150 by transferring money in from the bank. So we need to transfer in £17.60 in from the bank. So we put that in here, in the bank line there, though. So that's going in from the bank, and that's going to there, to the petty cash. So debit, petty cash, credit, bank. So that's given us, now moved us to our 150. Our impressed system, going back to 150. And now we can now produce the journals from that. So these are going to be debit, petty cash, credit, whatever we're going to see. So let's start going to in here. So stationery sales, credit there, credit the sales, 5. Then in terms of VAT, we got debit VAT £5.20 and credit VAT £1, so it's going to be credit debit £4.20 overall. We got the student trips here, debit petty cash, credit student trips, and then we got travel here, and then biscuits and cakes. We didn't have any biscuits and cakes. Our tea and coffee expenses was credit petty cash £20, debit tea and coffee expenses 20, and then we got our stationery purchases for 26, and then the transfer into the petty cash, so debit petty cash, credit the bank £17.60. So those are our debits and credits into the general ledger accounts before we get to our petty cash here. And then we've got our figures now for, and just making sure that those all now balance, which they do quite nicely. Yeah, let's just check that. Yeah, £17.60, so there we are. What we can see here is that we've not got any change in our petty cash figure because we've gone back to the £150. Let's say we didn't do that. Let's say we just left it as it was. I'm just going to delete that one out, so it's at £132 here. We had no out there. And what we would be doing instead is we wouldn't be having the £17.60 here. We would be debiting these figures here, crediting the petty cash, £70.60, crediting these figures, these later accounts here, debiting the account 53, and so our petty cash would have dropped in that situation if we didn't make it up. So it basically it is going debit petty it's going credit petty cash and debit petty cash here on those amounts. So that's the answer to this petty cash question. Hope you got it right. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.